Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're focusing on something pretty interesting over in European security. It's Bulgaria's big push to modernize its military and really get integrated with NATO. We've got some fascinating details here, looking at a recent announcement from a company called EON Reality about how they're planning to help out.
That's right. And Bulgaria is clearly serious about this. They're boosting their defense spending, aiming for that 2% GDP target NATO sets. A huge part of this, really the core, is moving away from their older, Soviet-era gear towards advanced Western tech. And the big headline item there is the purchase of those F-16 Block 70 fighter jets.
Okay, so yeah, new jets. Sounds great on the surface, shiny new tech. But as we sort of dig into this announcement, it looks like it's not just about swapping out old machines for new ones. There's a much bigger challenge underneath all this, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. The announcement really highlights this significant hurdle. The training gap,
Right.
the skills gap. It just naturally happens when you shift from one really complex military system to a completely different one. You've got Bulgarian personnel needing to get up to speed very quickly on operating and, crucially, maintaining these sophisticated Western platforms.
Right, it's not just flying them.
Not at all. And just as important, they need to fully absorb NATO's ways of doing things, the operational doctrines, the procedures. This ensures they can actually work seamlessly with other allied forces. Things like NATO standardization agreements, STANAGs they call them. They cover everything, communications, logistics, you name it. Getting those right is, well, fundamental for genuine interoperability.
And I guess this is where the old ways of training might start to creak a bit. The announcement hints at, potential strains on their current training setups and the usual problem resource limits. It sort of suggests that if they just stick to traditional classroom and manual methods, it could really slow down how quickly they can actually use these new capabilities effectively.
Precisely. You've got the sheer complexity of the new gear, plus the need to align with all these detailed NATO protocols. It really demands a more dynamic and efficient way to handle the training and education side. And that's the core problem EON Reality says they're tackling with this new initiative they've announced.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting technologically. The announcement introduces EON Reality, and their plan, it's called the AI Academy for Defense Bulgarian NATO Integration Track. Sounds like they're bringing some pretty advanced tech to solve this training puzzle.
They are, yeah. EON Reality is known globally in this area using augmented and virtual reality, XR, for knowledge transfer. Their whole approach here revolves around using their own spatial AI technology and their XR platform. They're building this whole integrated training ecosystem, specifically tailored for the Bulgarian armed forces. The main goal, simple, speed up the process of getting personnel the skills they need for these modern systems.
Okay, so let's break down this ecosystem. What are the pieces? The announcement mentions several key parts. First is the EON XR platform that's described as the foundation.
Yeah, think of the EON XR platform as the digital backbone. It's secure, it can scale up, it's where they can create and run these interactive 3D training simulations. So imagine a virtual F-16 cockpit for pilots to practice, checklists, emergency procedures, or maybe detailed 3D models of new armored vehicles for maintenance crews to work on virtually.
Okay, standard VR stuff so far.
But here's where it gets really clever, I think. They talk about their Spatial AI Text-to-XR capability. Spatial AI, basically, AI that understands and works within these virtual 3D spaces. It allows for things like smart feedback, adapting the training on the fly.
Text-to-XR, that sounds efficient. The announcement says they can take Bulgarian technical manuals or even those really dense NATO STANAG documents, feed them in, and turn them into interactive XR learning modules in Bulgarian in under 80 seconds. Is that right?
That's the claim. Under 80 seconds. It seems like a massive jump in how quickly you can create relevant training content. Think about it getting localized, up-to-date training materials almost instantly.
Wow. That speed is crucial, especially when you're trying to sync up with allies and translate complex technical stuff quickly.
It absolutely is. It directly tackles that lag you normally get with distributing updated manuals and procedures, especially across different languages in an alliance. This could potentially shave off huge amounts of time and resources usually spent on translation and traditional courseware development. Of course, the proof will be in the pudding, how well the AI handles very technical, very specific language, and what checks they have to make sure it's accurate. That'll be key.
Good point. Okay, next component. The Specialized AI Academy for Defense Bulgarian NATO Integration Track. Sounds very focused.
It's tailored. This academy pulls together those immersive XR simulations we talked about. but combines them with AI-driven learning paths that are personalized for each user. So, say you're a Bulgarian technician learning maintenance on a new vehicle. The AI watches how you do in the simulation. It figures out what you've grasped and where you need more practice, then adjusts the training just for you. This personalization also helps with getting recognized qualifications faster, Bulgarian ones, and relevant NATO micro-credentials.
Making the training smarter, not just faster. Okay. They also mentioned something called the EON Career Guide and Compass. What's that about? Sounds more like HR tech.
It sort of is, but integrated into this defense context. These are AI tools meant to help individual soldiers and officers map out their careers, especially within this modernizing military structure. The AI can look at someone's current skills and compare them against what's needed for the new Western systems or for specific roles within NATO structures. It identifies the gaps and can even visualize a custom roadmap. Okay, you need this training, then maybe this posting to get here.
Helping people see their future in the modernized forces. That's smart. And the last big piece mentioned is the AI-era Bulgarian military curriculum. So this isn't just about the nuts and bolts of the F-16.
No, it goes broader. They're developing this with Bulgarian military experts and academic partners like the defense colleges. And yes, it covers technical skills for the new kit, but also focuses on what they call AI-era competencies. Things like operating in network environments, understanding data coming from modern sensors, working effectively with AI systems, human-machine teaming, and critically, making decisions in a way that aligns with NATO standards and practices.
So adapting the way they think and operate too.
Precisely. The curriculum uses hyper-realistic virtual scenarios, tailored to Bulgaria's likely operational situations and its NATO roles. And this is where they make that really bold claim that this approach can help personnel learn critical skills up to 4 times faster than traditional methods.
4 times faster, that's a huge claim. If it holds up, that really changes the game for how quickly forces can adapt. It's definitely ambitious. We'll need to see how that plays out in practice. But the potential is obviously enormous for accelerating readiness.
Okay, so that's the what. Now, how are they actually making this happen? The announcement talks about partnerships and deployment. Sounds like they're not just dropping tech and leaving.
No, collaboration seems absolutely key here. EON is working closely with Bulgarian institutions across the board. You've got the government and military leadership providing the strategic direction, defining the actual training needs, like we need X number of pilots ready by this date for the F-16s, and making sure it all aligns with Bulgaria's NATO capability targets.
Right.
Then you have academic and training institutions, places like the Rakovsky National Defense College, Vasilevsky National Military University. They could become hubs for this tech, integrating it into their courses, bringing their teaching know-how, and helping push the adoption of NATO standards.
So leveraging existing structures. Exactly. And they're also involving the Bulgarian defense industry and maybe other regional partners. They could help perhaps validate the training content, make sure it meets real-world needs, and generally help grow the local defense skills base.
And how are they actually getting the tech out there? Is it all fixed locations?
It sounds like a mix. They mentioned setting up AI Academy centers near key bases. Graf Ignativa Air Base, where the F-16s will likely be based, is given as an example, but also integrating the tech into existing training facilities. And they even talk about mobile XR units. You could potentially take these out into the field for exercises. Plus, a really crucial bit is developing Bulgarian language train-the-trainer programs.
So building local expertise to run it long-term.
Yes, that's vital for sustainability.
Yeah.
It means Bulgaria isn't just relying on EON forever. They build their own capacity to manage and grow this training system. It's about empowering them to own their defense training future.
Okay, so if this all comes together as planned, what are the big wins for Bulgaria and its role in NATO? The announcement lists some pretty significant potential benefits.
Yeah, the expected upsides are substantial. First and foremost, faster operational readiness for those F-16s. They talk about potentially cutting training time by up to 60%, which means getting those jets integrated into the Bulgarian Air Force and contributing to things like NATO air policing much, much faster.
That alone is a big deal for the region.
Huge. Second, it should speed up the whole transition to Western standards across the board, not just the Air Force. Think about their land forces, modernization, naval procurements. This approach could help accelerate interoperability there, too, making it easier for all branches to work effectively with allies.
And it's not just about speed, right? They also talk about better learning outcomes.
Exactly. Superior skill mastery, potentially higher qualification rates, they mentioned over 95%. Plus the safety aspect, you can practice dangerous or complex procedures in VR with zero physical risk. And improve knowledge retention, they cite figures over 75%.
And maybe saving money in the long run.
That's another angle. Optimizing the big investment they're making in modernization. If you can cut lifecycle training costs significantly, they suggest up to 65% savings that frees up resources elsewhere. Ultimately, the big picture goal is clear. Create AI-ready, fully interoperable Bulgarian forces. Forces that can contribute more effectively to security in the Black Sea region and along NATO's eastern flank.
Okay, the announcement thing, it's really specific, giving examples of where spatial AI could be used. This helps make it more concrete.
Yeah, these use cases really show the practical side. Think F-16 pilots and maintainers, using hyperreal virtual training for everything from the advanced cockpit systems to weapons like AMRAAM and Sidewinder missiles, or learning the Link 16 data network. And the AI helps by converting, say, Lockheed Martin or USAF manuals into interactive lessons.
So directly using the source material.
Right. And it's not just jets. They mentioned training for crews on modernized armored vehicles. The AI could generate scenarios for whatever new types they get. Training for crews on new naval patrol vessels, modern bridges, sensors. Training on upgraded air defense systems and how they plug into NATO's broader air defense network.
It seems to cover doctrine and procedures, too.
Yes, practicing NATO Standard Operating Procedures, or SOPs. Things like joint planning processes, secure communications, how to format tactical reports correctly, even basics like cyber defense awareness. And importantly, participating in virtual NATO exercises. Imagine Bulgarian units training alongside units from other NATO countries in a shared simulated environment.
That sounds incredibly valuable for interoperability.
It really is. And one more thing they mention is using augmented reality AR for maintenance. So a technician working on an actual F-16 could wear AR glasses, and the system overlays diagrams, instructions, checklists right onto their view of the equipment. The AI, again, helps by converting the technical manuals into these AR-guided procedures. Across the board, the potential to boost efficiency and effectiveness seems really significant.
There's a quote in the announcement from Dan Lajerskar, the chairman of EON Reality. It seems to sum it all up.
Yes, his quote hits the key points. Accelerating Bulgaria's transformation, helping them master Western systems and NATO procedures faster, and equipping Bulgarian forces with these AI-ready skills needed for today's security environment, especially in their region. It captures the strategic intent well.
And just for context, the announcement briefly touches on EON Reality's background. They've been around a while.
Over 25 years, apparently. Leaders in this AI-powered AR/VR knowledge transfer space. They talk about a commitment to making knowledge accessible, and they're even launching something called a Spatial AI University next year. So yeah, they bring a lot of experience and seem focused on the future of learning technology. It adds credibility to the whole initiative.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive today, it really seems like this EON Reality initiative using Spatial AI and XR, it offers a genuinely potential game changer for Bulgaria's defense modernization and its NATO integration. It looks like a way to seriously speed up training, boost interoperability, and ultimately make Bulgaria a stronger contributor to alliance security.
I agree. It's a fascinating example of how cutting-edge tech is being applied directly to solve pressing geopolitical and military challenges. It addresses the nuts and bolts of training and readiness in a really innovative way for the 21st century.
It definitely leaves you thinking, doesn't it? If technologies like spatial AI are evolving this fast, how could this reshape military training and readiness across NATO, maybe even globally? Are we seeing the start of a major shift away from traditional methods towards these immersive AI-driven approaches? What does that mean for international security, for defense strategy in this new era? Something to ponder. If you want to dig deeper, definitely check out the resources mentioned. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.